Sound, Mind, and Body is brought to you in part by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/inbound. You'll find over 180,000 titles to choose from and to listen to through your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Support Sound, Mind, and Body by visiting audibletrial.com/inbound.
Hello and welcome to Sound, Mind, and Body, a podcast where we talk about how to stay healthy, balanced, and well of mind, body, and spirit in today's crazy world with a dash of woo-woo. I'm so excited today for my guest because he was referred to us by our wonderful guest from episode 3, Lisa May of KLOS.
Yep.
So Lisa is here with us today. And our guest today he's a nationally recognized health, fitness, and motivational expert, a trainer, and founder and chief body tutor of My Body Tutor, a company he created to help people stop making excuses when it comes to health and fitness by providing daily and personal accountability like no other company in the world. Adam Gilbert. Welcome, Adam.
Hey, Adam.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hi.
And Adam is joining us from, are you in New York?
Yep, New York City.
Oh, great.
Yes.
So just a little bit about how you got to do what you do, and then we'll talk about Lisa May's experience with you.
Sure.
So how did you get into doing what you do or creating this My Body Tutor?
Yeah, so when I graduated college, I was working for Ernst & Young, big accounting firm, and I've always been the go-to health and fitness guy wherever I've been in life, whether it was high school, college, my corporate job. And it was really the same story. I would give people advice, and then I'd see them a week or two later, and it was always the same story. It was always, I got caught up with work. I got caught up with happy hour. Ultimately, they got caught up with life.
Right.
And what I realized was they had a great plan. They would tell me how much they enjoyed the plan, how good they felt about it, but they couldn't stick with it. And that's where the idea for daily and personal accountability came into play, because I wanted to help them stick with the plan and implement it on a daily basis that we had come up with.
It's a brilliant concept, even though it seems so simple, but that is really the key to success when you're trying to, make progress in dieting or staying fit or any of those kinds of health and fitness habits. When you first started, did you just start doing it with friends, or how did you get it out there?
Yeah, so I quit my job in January of 2007. I started MBT in February 2007. I designed the website myself.
Wow.
Before that, my mom actually, and for a while, thought I was absolutely crazy for leaving my safe and comfortable, secure job. She'd always tell me, people would kill for your job, this and that. And I was just really unhappy. I felt like, health and fitness was always my passion. And so I launched the website in February of 2007. So this next month will be 11 years. And, I promoted it on Facebook. I had a little email newsletter that I just kind of had. But one of my things was I never really wanted to sell it to my friends. I mentioned it and shared it and whatever, but very quickly, we were getting people we didn't know. And that was through Facebook advertising.
Oh, great.
So we started that in February, and, very quickly by April of 2007, we had to stop advertising because we couldn't handle the growth.
So you have a 100% guarantee with your program. Must be successful.
Yeah, I really feel like if you really believe in what you do, you should offer a guarantee. And I know what we offer works. Of course, I've been doing it for 11 years now, but just the fact that we're in communication with our clients every single day makes all the difference. It's not like we're just telling you, giving you a plan and then saying, good luck, let's touch base in a few weeks, right? We're giving you a plan, and then we're actually holding you accountable to it every single day. So anything and everything that gets in the way, we're going to help you get through. And that's why we get the results we do, is because we're in communication with you every single day.
So that is the difference in your program, and that is what you found to be the key to success.
The daily and personal accountability. And I also think we understand the psychology of weight loss extremely well. So we help people get to their root causes of why they're eating. Because, of course, we care about what our clients are eating, but we also care about why they're eating as well. it's that combination of, the expert coaching and guidance and also the daily accountability.
That is so true. So let's bring Lisa May into the conversation here. So Lisa, how did you find out about My Body Tutor?
I actually read about Adam and his program in Gretchen Rubin's book, Better Than Before.
Better Than Before, that's right. Yes. I saw that you were in there. Gretchen Rubin is kind of a, quote, friend of the family. So,
yeah, I'm a big fan of hers.
Yeah.
And in that book, she's
great.
Yeah. She is. She's really smart. She must be a friend of yours to put you in a book.
It says she was a friend of,
right?
Yeah.
Or how do you guys know each other?
Yeah, so, I'm a big believer that everything impacts everything. And I think that when you're fit, it's easier to be happier.
True.
And when I had started MBT, I started studying happiness. Because if I can help my clients be happier, again, it becomes easier to be fit. So I had reached out to her because I was a huge fan of her blog. And we would trade emails every now and then. She was a fan of the program. We had never met. And then one time we had emailed and she said, I'd love to meet with you. I'm working on a new book. And then we would meet every few months while she was working on Better Than Before. We would go for walks in Central Park. We'd meet up for coffee, and she would just pick my brain. And, that was for her to write, the book Better Than Before. And, and then she told me, hey, you're in the book. I was like, wow, that's totally, that was great. So, yeah.
Well, I thought it was brilliant because one of the things the book talks about is it's about trying to build better habits to achieve your goals.
Yeah.
And one of the things it does is, and this is Gretchen's creation, is break down people into 4 general tendencies.
The 4 tendencies.
Right.
Yeah.
And the obliger is the most prominent tendency. More of us are that.
Guilty of
Me
being
too.
an obliger, for sure.
And one of the things she says is that as an obliger, you need outside accountability. It means that you satisfy outside demands, but not the ones internally.
Right.
So you get everything done at work, but then you go home and you don't exercise even though you meant to and you thought you should. You just kind of fall down on yourself.
Yeah.
And so outside accountability is what she recommends for obligers. And I'm sure other types too, but I was like, whoa, that's me.
Yeah.
100%. And then she talked about Adam's program, My Body Tutor, and how the beauty of it is that there is a person you're checking in with every single day about what you're eating, what you're exercising, how you feel. It's your personal coach.
That's great.
And that's the accountability that you need. And I have always struggled with my weight. And, I was never a yo-yo dieter. I was like, I would diet my way up slowly.
Yeah.
Because I had all these, I don't know. I don't want to get into all of that. But anyway, it's been so helpful for me. It was kind of scary at first because you really have to be, and I fight this, Adam. And Adam sends out like 2 emails a week about various topics that we're all dealing with. And one of them is you have to be honest with your tutor.
Oh, I know.
And I have to admit I have not 100% done that. But when I finally did, I started getting better results because it's true. You really and the thing I love about, and I'm on my second tutor now because the first one went off to start her own consulting business recently.
Wow.
But what I find is that everybody that works for Adam is so kind. So if you have a bad day, they're not there to tell you, wow, you really screwed up and you are going to have to work harder tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's not like that, which is what I was expecting and why I was afraid to say, yesterday was a really bad day.
Yeah.
It's more like, let's talk about what happened. Here's what you did that was good in trying to deal with this. Here's something you might want to try, down the road if the situation comes up again. Like when I go to my mom's, it sets off something. First, she has cabinets full of candy.
Oh, God.
And sometimes she's annoying. So those 2 things can be a problem
the candy
for me.
Helps you to deal with the annoying.
Right. So that was
That's
one thing
funny.
that my tutor and I would talk about is like, how can you set yourself up for success in this situation?
Oh, I love that.
And it's also not the idea that you can never eat pizza again. You need to be able to live your life and eat properly. And Adam says we set up a program, but Adam, isn't it true that really you're working with us? It's not like Adam has a diet that everybody does. Each client has their own specific needs and desires and situations, right? And you work with that. So I already had sort of a pattern of eating that I wanted to do. And my tutor helped me to refine it a little bit and also learn how to work with it. And if I was setting myself up for failure because it was too strict, we talked about that.
Oh, get it.
So individualized that way.
So, because Lisa is dealing with, and I was too, a thyroid issue.
Yeah.
So you take into account those kinds of things and say, you're not, medical doctors, but you say, okay, let's say we've been advised that we shouldn't do this or shouldn't do that, you take that all into consideration, right, Adam?
Yeah, it has to be customized. I mean, if we're asking you to eat foods that don't agree with you, or if you're a vegetarian and we're asking you to eat, animal meat, like obviously that's not going to be sustainable,
right.
And you have to feel comfortable with the diet. And I think a big mistake a lot of people make is they try to follow these diets that they're just not even comfortable with to begin with, and they're doomed for failure from the start. So the first thing we do is give you a plan that you feel comfortable with, and we work with you on it. It's not like we're just telling you what to eat. We talk to you about your favorite foods. We talk to you about your negotiables, your non-negotiables. Some people, there's things they can't live without. Personally, like I can't live without a hamburger and fries and some ice cream every week. And I work that into my plan so I can enjoy it, right? The goal is to be fit and happy, not fit and miserable.
I like that, not fit and miserable.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard it said, and I do believe that every diet works in the short term.
I agree. Every diet works if you can stick with it.
Right.
And that's the hard part, is sticking with it. And, I have 3 reasons why I feel like people can't stick with it. We don't need to talk about that now if you don't want.
No, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell
give
me.
us the 3 reasons.
3 reasons. The first reason why you can't stick with a diet is the diet and exercise plan you're trying to follow is not sustainable to begin with. You can only follow a cookie diet or a shake diet or a grapefruit diet or a no fun diet for so long. It has to be sustainable, it has to be practical, and it has to be healthy. So that's number 1. It sounds like common sense, but it's not common practice. Like we all know these people, and maybe even it's ourselves, like where we've tried to follow these crazy diets, but you can't stick with that. So that's number 1. Number 2 is that most people go on what I call a food diet. Essentially, they go from one diet to the next, and the only thing they're changing is the food they're eating. Yeah. And if the only thing you're changing is the food you're eating, you're not going to change for the long term. It's critical that you change your relationship with food, that you change your habits and behaviors around food, that you change the way you think and react to food. So that's a big part of what we focus on. Because if you're just changing the food you're eating, you're not changing what's going on between your ears, and that's the key to long-term success. And the third reason why consistency is so hard, or why we can't stick to a diet, is very simply lack of accountability. It's very easy to make excuses to ourselves. It's very easy to rationalize after a long day or during a long day. And that's where having the accountability comes into play. So those are the 3 reasons.
Because I would, when I was dieting on my own, it's that, this one thing as I'm walking by, I can just grab that and eat it. But when you know that you have to write it down and send that in, it's an app on your phone, by the way.
Oh, okay.
And so you fill out what you've eaten every day. You talk about what your exercise was that day and what your goal is for the next day, which I really like because it helps you to think ahead a little bit and like, what are the things I have planned for the day? How am I going to fit this in? What can I fit in?
Right.
And maybe you can that day and maybe you can't, but then you don't beat yourself up. You're like, you know what, this day is just packed with stuff. I'm not going to be able to do it today. Okay. We'll just plan it that way. It is super practical, but it does kind of make you stop before you grab that one thing that isn't really on your plan or is a trigger, and stop and think about it.
Now, do you actually speak to somebody every day, or is it just email or some kind of an app?
Yeah, so we have 2 plans. One, you can speak with a coach every single day, and then the other is all through electronic email, through the app, texting, etc.
But you do speak to your coach on that plan once a week.
Okay, is that what you did,
Yeah, that's
Lisa?
what I do.
Okay.
I'm still doing it.
Oh, good.
I'm not done yet. I've lost 15 pounds and I'm not done yet.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
It's really cool because we're an online-based service. I don't really ever get to meet our clients or see our clients, besides like when they send me before and after pictures. So, I mean, you look amazing. I don't know,
Thank you.
It's so cool. So it's awesome.
It's been a great, because like I said, I am terrible at losing weight.
Yeah.
But Verna has been an amazing coach, and like my friend, she's become a friend, and it's been really amazing. And I really wanted people to know about this because I think it's affordable and doable.
Right.
And it does work if you really trust it. And one of the emails that Adam sends out semi-regularly is, here's why you think you want to quit right now. Because I hit stretches. I hit like a 6-week stretch where nothing was happening.
Right.
And that's the time when people drop out and you go, I mean, it's easy and you could move on to the next thing. But I'm like, what's the next thing going to be? Really?
Right.
There is no
How many more
thing.
next things are there? There's no magic pill. And so
there's
I hung
a
in
million
there.
next things. And
Right.
then,
Right. And you could do that for the rest of your life. But we sat and we made a few changes. We worked a little bit on my exercise.
I love that.
Slowly, because I always push back a little.
You do?
Initially, like Verna would tell me something, I'm like, I don't know. And then I'd sit with it for 3 days. I go, okay, that's not a bad idea. So it's gentle.
Yeah.
It's sort of a gentle, but it pushes you in the right direction.
Now, with your guarantee, Adam, I was reading that you have a 100% guarantee. If you reach your goal, you get to stay a client for life. I mean, what's that all about? Can you explain
Adam,
that?
Tell me.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
So we are not interested in repeat business. We all know companies out there and people who've done X program dozens of times. So what we say is when you reach your goal with us, you get lifetime access to our maintenance plan. So you can continue to use the app. You can continue to use our program. And our clients love it because at that point, everything we've worked on, the practices and the behaviors have now become habitual. They're second nature. Right. And that's the goal. So I'm very confident that, once our clients get to where they want to be, they'll be able to sustain it. So that is the reason why we offer it, because I want success stories for life.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to take a little break, and then when we come back, we'll talk more about special needs, special foods, vegetarian, more about your program. On the next release of Sound, Mind, and Body, it's a very special weekend release. I'm calling it Meet the Millennials. You've heard me talk about my son, Michael, and so we're going to talk to him and meet him.
My favorite woo-woo moment would have to be going to Burning Man. For people that really don't know about Burning Man, it's like a week-long festival in the middle of the desert, Black Rock City. They have this thing, it's called the Temple. The energy in there was like insane. I've never felt energy like that. And then at the very end, I just started bawling. Like,
you did?
For no reason.
You couldn't help it.
I couldn't help it, yeah.
We'll also be talking to one of Michael's good friends, Jessie Kavanaugh, who has a very heartfelt story to tell about losing her father and how that's driven her to start taking spiritual psychology courses.
I think that we as a society, we fear death, and it's actually a really beautiful thing if you think about it from that positive place. It's a soul journey. Yeah, exactly. It's a cycle. Something is ending and there's something that's about to be beginning as well.
And we will also hear from another one of my son's friends, Chris Whitehall, lead singer from the band The Griswolds.
It's a funny thing that me and my drummer Lachlan came up with, and we actually both have it tattooed on our bodies. So it's a karma saying that we just came up with on the road of basically you always pay for it somehow. So that's the acronym.
Okay.
Yeah, fish, you always pay for it somehow. And I guess it's just our own expression of that, you got to be really responsible for your actions, because whatever you do, there is going to be a reaction to that.
So don't miss the release of 3 episodes, Meet the Millennials. That's next week on Sound, Mind, and Body.
Hey, it's Tim Edwards with the Inbound Podcasting Network and producer of Sound, Mind, and Body. Just the fact that you're listening to the Sound, Mind, and Body podcast tells us that you enjoy consuming your content through your ears. Now, if you're a podcast listener, you're a perfect fit to enjoy audiobooks. So for you, our listeners and official members of Sheila's Woo-Woo community, Audible is offering you a free audiobook download and a free 30-day trial to check out their awesome service. Look, I'll be honest, I hate reading, always have. I'm a very slow reader, and I don't have the time to just sit down and read a book. So, like you, I've always loved consuming my content through listening. I've been an Audible customer for several years, and as a result, on average, consume about 20 to 25 books a year. In other podcasts the Inbound Podcasting Network produces, we've interviewed authors like Dr. Martin Gabala, who penned The 1 Minute Workout, and Dr. Sylvia Tara, who wrote The Secret Life of Fat. Both are very informative for those who are looking to get in shape and to stay in shape, and both are available with Audible. Give it a shot. You've got nothing to lose. It's absolutely free for 30 days, and you get a free audiobook to keep even if you don't continue with the subscription. Support Sound, Mind, and Body by visiting audibletrial.com/inbound. That's audibletrial.com/inbound. We'll include a link in the show notes, or just click the Audible banner at soundmindbodypodcast.com.
Okay, so we're back. We're talking to Adam Gilbert, Chief Body Tutor and founder of My Body Tutor. So, Adam, let's just circle back to the question I had asked you about blood work, because I had gone over blood work with another nutritionist. So how do you guys deal with that, or do you deal with it?
Yeah, so we don't get that in depth in terms of asking our clients for their blood work, but we always hear from our clients how their blood work has greatly improved. I mean, every single time they go to the doctor, we always get reports from them just saying their doctor was thrilled, and that's always, thrilling to hear.
That's awesome. That's great, because really it is in the blood. I've learned that to take blood tests at least once a year, maybe sometimes twice a year if you're going through a program, to see, is this making a difference, Well,
I had that experience too. I had my blood done, my general physical at the end of the year. And I had the same thing that happened to you, Sheila, which is last year I was told I was pre-diabetic, which was shocking.
I know.
I mean, I was overweight, but I wasn't that much overweight. And I was really trying to adhere to kind of a paleo program. But this year, in December, I had blood work done again. Blood sugar's normal. Inflammation, because I deal with Hashimoto's, a thyroid issue.
Right.
Inflammation was down from 200 and something to 77.
Oh
77,
my God.
Still high, but it's not 200.
Whoa,
I saw great progress in my numbers. It was super exciting.
That is great.
That makes me so happy to hear. And, I always say, our body never lies.
Yeah.
So I'll talk with people and they'll say, oh, I eat really well, or I'm exercising, or whatever it is. And then it's like, all right, well, your body doesn't lie. But also to that point, like, our blood never lies.
Right.
So it's always thrilling to hear that from clients.
So what is your typical client like? I mean, Lisa May and I are kind of in the same category, I would think. But what is your typical client like?
Yeah, I think our typical client is, a chronic dieter. They've tried several things. They can't stick with anything for more than a few weeks. Maybe sometimes they can stick with it for a few months. They're tired of yo-yo dieting. They're ready for something that is going to be long-term, something that's going to be permanent. It's interesting, though. We have clients ranging in age from, 18 to, we have an 80-plus-year-old client. But it's people who are tired of, being tired and ready to make a change once and for all.
That's so true. I am tired of being tired. Yeah. Do you want to tell the story about the woman that Lisa was talking about?
So Adam sent out an email 2 or 3 weeks ago about a client that finished losing her weight, got to her goal. Was it a year ago, Adam?
Yeah, it was in September of 2016. And then she wanted to wait like 3 months to post it for me to share the success story. So I was like, sure, no problem. But then we got to December, 3 months later, I'm like, you know what? Let's keep, just keep doing what you're doing, and the idea was, I know what we did worked and I know it was lasting. So I wound up not sharing her success story for 15 months. So just this past month in December, we shared it 15 months later after she reached her goal.
And stayed there for over a year.
And,
I hear it from clients. I mean, I talk to our clients all the time, our success stories. For her though, and, I totally get it. She was proud of her success, but she was also very weary of, having a story about her be shared and then she gains all the weight back, which we see all the time.
Yep.
So she wanted to make sure it was actually sustainable and lasting.
So is it true that once you get on a system, and if you stay a certain weight for a certain period of time, like 6 months or a year, that it's easier, you kind of reset your body thermostat? Does this help you to change that set point?
There's a lot of conflicting research on that. And I think the bottom line is, if the way in which you lose weight is unsustainable, then by nature, the weight loss is unsustainable. Like, you have to lose weight in a sustainable way. And I think a lot of people and a lot of these articles you see, it's about people who lose weight, exercising for hours a day, restricting their calories beyond belief. And that's just not sustainable. And of course, as soon as you stop doing that, you're going to go back to where you were and gain weight. So one of the things we make sure we do with our clients in any, solid program is going to make sure what you're doing is sustainable. If you don't like your life as you're losing weight, then you're never going to be able to sustain it. You have to enjoy life as you're losing weight too.
That is so true. And on the point of exercise, let's talk about that a little bit. Because one of the questions you have on your site is, do I need to join a gym? And I am a strength training instructor. We have a once a week slow motion high intensity strength training. That's what we practice. And it's also, we talk that same language to our clients. Is your exercise program sustainable? You can do once a week really intensely for, 30 minutes once a week. And you can sustain that for a very long period of time. And, it's like people think more is better. So what about the exercise component of your program?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very much in line with that thinking. We never ask our clients to do anything crazy. It has to be sustainable. It has to be practical. And it has to be something they enjoy, right? We at MBT like to focus on diet first, just because, as you probably know, you can't out-exercise a poor diet.
You cannot, yep.
So we like to get that foundation first, and then once that starts to feel easier and more comfortable, then we'll roll up our sleeves and focus on their exercise. But the exercise plan has to be practical. Like, we're not going to ask, an older woman who has knee trouble to start running. I mean, that's just absurd.
Exactly.
Right? And that's why, not like shows like The Biggest Loser and stuff. I mean, they drive me crazy because those people should never be exercising at that intensity.
I know. All I see is injury.
Well, and those people go home and gain their. I mean, what's the percentage of those people that keep their weight off? Like 3%? It's insane.
It's brutal.
Right, and that goes to the point. I mean, what they're doing is not sustainable. And their entire life is dedicated to losing weight while they're on the show. And it has to be practical. It has to be. You have to lose weight in a way that you can stick with it.
And integrate it into your lifestyle. What about people who have families and the families are not really on the diet? How have you dealt with that with people? Because that's always an issue too.
Yeah, it's challenging. I mean, it certainly is easier when, your significant other is on board with your changes, and there's a lot of sabotage and self-sabotage. And, that's a big part of what, I focus on is the psychology of it all is, if people are trying to sabotage you, it makes it really hard. It could be their own insecurities, their own fear, but they know they have a trusted partner, someone who's on their side every single day, and it really makes it a lot easier. And really the best way to change others is to change yourself. And we really deal with the root cause. Like, if your partner is really sabotaging you, it's like, well, why are they sabotaging you? Are they scared you're going to leave them?
Yeah. Wow.
Are they scared things are going to change? I mean, these are all sorts of things we deal with. And we really like to get to the heart of it to kind of move past that.
Yeah, the emotions are so much a part of this with exercise, diet, and everything. That's why, being healthy of mind, body, and spirit, because if you have something going on, you could be doing everything perfect and just you're not happy, something's going to make it all explode,
And that is another thing you work on with your tutor is like the lifestyle choices, getting enough sleep.
Yeah.
Getting stress or working on the stress in your life. Those kinds of things are equally important and can sabotage your weight loss so quickly.
Yeah,
I mean, everything impacts everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line. That's why it drives me crazy when people only focus on like eat these 10 magic foods or do these exercises. Like if your work life is crazy, that's going to impact you way more than other things. So we take it's a very holistic approach.
So talk a little bit about sleep. How important is that to diet and nutrition in your book?
Yeah, I mean, it's very important. Sleep, if you don't sleep all that much, I mean, your ability to self-regulate and control yourself goes way down. So it is certainly a priority. There's people, especially, I have a newborn. Thankfully, he's sleeping now. But it's hard at times. But it doesn't mean just because you can't sleep or you're not sleeping enough doesn't mean you can't succeed. It just makes it a little trickier. And there's things we can do to kind of mitigate that or get through that during those tough times.
It's just all about having that coach. I've had life coaches. I have a series of people that I'm interviewing on the podcast that are life coaches. And one of them said, I said, why should somebody get a life coach? And she's like, because everybody needs that support. And she compared it to like a football team. If there wasn't a coach out there, then you can't see the big picture, So the coaches are health coach, life coach, and your program seems like a great alternative to actually having to hire a nutritionist, go to an office, visit, which I was doing, and I love my nutritionist, but it becomes unsustainable after a while, going to this office visit, and maybe I could do it once a month, but every week it's really difficult. Every 2 weeks it was doable, but not for a long period of time.
Well, and if you don't live nearby, you're
exactly.
not going there at all.
And the whole thing about the journaling, but if you're not checking in daily, it's not the true data that the nutritional coach can use to help you.
I was just say a week is a long time. 2 weeks is a long time. If you're seeing someone once a month, a lot happens between then.
Yes.
And I think the problem with a lot of nutritionists and, kind of the old school way of doing things is they assume a lack of knowledge is the real issue. But the real issue here is a lack of consistent action, is doing the right things day in and day out, and having someone to course correct you when things go off, go the wrong way.
Hey, Adam, I have a question. I'm curious about how you find and train your tutors.
Yeah. So thankfully, we're in a very fortunate position where we get a lot of people emailing us every week. And, we're very, very selective because, as the founder of MBT, I eat, sleep, and breathe what I do. And I know we're only as good as our coaches.
Right.
So I'm very, very selective of who we bring on. So they all come to us highly qualified. Our kind of philosophies around health and fitness are in agreement. And then we have our own training program that they go through. And we're constantly refining that. I mean, I spend a lot of time helping our tutors be as good as they can be.
Do they come to you with any kind of a prerequisite type of certification or?
Yes. So they're all certified, either they're nutritionists, they're personal trainers, we have a therapist, they're all certified in one area or another around fitness.
What's so helpful about it too is when you go off course, and everybody does, and there's an acceptance that is going to happen, nobody expects you to be perfect, is the idea that, and we hear it, but I don't know, somehow when you're working with a tutor, it sits in better, is that your very next meal is your chance to course correct. So you stop doing that, I'll start on Monday, or I blew it this morning, so let's just go ahead for the day and eat everything in the world, and then we'll start tomorrow. That kind of, that thinking isn't in my head anymore, which is amazing to me, because that is how I dieted up. Instead of down. That's the kind of thinking.
Dieting up. That is so true.
I'm so good at that. It's like, I'm going to eat everything today because tomorrow's I'm starting over.
That all or nothing thinking is probably the most common thing. So many people think if they can't be perfect, why bother? I'll start fresh tomorrow.
Yeah. So
it makes me very happy to hear that you've overcome that, because that is very detrimental, and that is the number one thing people do. Notorious dieters are notorious for having that, perfectionist mentality.
And I think part of it is that you stop thinking so much that you're on a diet. That's part of it, that you're on a sustainable eating plan.
Exactly. Exactly.
And you like vegetables after a while, which is also amazing. I'm definitely eating better and more happy about it, which I really love.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Do your tastes change, or does your biochemistry change after a while when you're, let's say sugar, for instance. Let's say people just want to completely stop sugar. Is there a specific program for that, or you just tailor it to the person? And then have you found that they are like, oh my gosh, my skin cleared up, or, things like that?
Sure. I mean, there's always amazing benefits to eating better: skin, clarity, focus, better energy. And we do tailor it to each client. But, think back to just even in your own life, like when you eat a lot of sugar or, high salt foods or highly fattening foods, like you want more and more of it.
That's
right?
true.
And, there's been countless research and books around this that, companies are literally designing their food to be addicting, right? They want you to just not be able to control yourself. And the combination of salt, sugar, and fat makes you want more and more of it. And they've proven this with rats. I mean, us humans know this. Like, rats will literally kill themselves to try to get more sugar.
Oh my gosh.
So when you eat better and you start eating clean, your cravings go down. But that's just the physiological part of it. We also deal with the psychological part of cravings as well. So it's all works hand in hand. But there's no doubt when you start eating better and eating healthier, your cravings will subside just from that.
I have to say, for me, sugar, there was no such thing as too sweet.
Oh, really?
That did not exist.
Wow.
And that has changed.
Oh.
And sometimes I'll have frosting off of a cake, like at a birthday or whatever, and my roof of my mouth starts to itch.
Oh
and
my
I'm
gosh.
like, that's like an allergic reaction to the sugar, and it's super uncomfortable. And yeah, that's a new thing for me, that there is really such a thing now as too sweet.
So now you really notice it. That's great.
You also become more sensitive to all of that. At least I have. So when I do have a little too much sugar, I get so sleepy.
You really notice it.
Yes.
That's one thing. What are your thoughts about alcohol, like having a glass of wine or, things like that?
I think for some people, having a glass of wine every night is a non-negotiable.
Okay.
So if you really need that, you have to have that glass of wine. We'll work with you on that. But, like Lisa was saying, I think, you start to just notice how food makes you feel. And I think a lot of people, unfortunately, go through life feeling tired and feeling lethargic, and they don't realize why. And when you realize that, how you feel impacts every aspect of your life, and how you feel is largely dictated by what you eat, how you move, and how you rest, like, that's a huge advantage. I mean, like, you're in control of your energy. You're in control of how you feel. Eating better just has so many benefits. So going back to your wine, if you really want the alcohol, then I would say go for it. But I think even so, the idea would be, if you're having it, be very conscious about it. Be mindful about it. I think a lot of people indulge unconsciously, impulsively. So it's a big part of what we work on.
Yeah, that's a thing I've talked to many people about, the fact that when you do start eating clean, and then you want to go to a party or something like that, and you have a glass of wine, or you haven't been drinking for a while, and then you have that glass, and then you're just like, the next day, oh my God, I really feel it. And I never used to notice as much. So it's almost like, oh God, I can't enjoy that wine as much anymore. But, then you get to the point where you're just like, I don't really need it. And it's okay.
Or half a glass does it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a cheap drunk then.
Yeah, for sure. So you're saving money.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not, I'm definitely, one of the things I've done in the last 6 months is really cut back on things like that, on the wine and the, I can't do it. I just cannot do it during the week. I mean, it's really, I really feel it. So.
Yeah. I mean, I joke around that, ignorance is bliss, of course, with certain things, but once you're more in tune with your body and you realize how certain things make you feel, it changes everything. And I think the old you might have just had the wine, and then you woke up feeling tired, lethargic, and you weren't really kind of thinking about it. But now it's just because you become more in tune with how you feel, you realize it more.
And you feel better. So now you're going back.
Now you're going back. And
it's
then,
a wonderful thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, you used to wake up a little bit tired, so then you'd have more coffee, you'd have a donut, or, whatever. You'd have something to try to get that sugar buzz or whatever.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle. So your program sounds amazing, and I really would like to talk to you after this about integrating it into my studio. But let's learn a little bit more about you personally, Adam, and we'll ask you our questions. So besides obviously eating correctly, which you do, what are other things you do to stay of sound mind and body in your life?
Yeah, so, I have 2 little boys, so I love playing with them. I love playing basketball. I love watching basketball. I love bike riding. So I live in New York City. I love bike riding in Central Park when it's warm out. It's absolutely freezing here now. And I also really enjoy writing. So I write a lot. So those are the things that, really help me to stay sane.
That's good. Okay, so what's a favorite sound of yours?
My favorite sound is definitely my kids' laughter.
Ah,
yeah,
that's great.
That's really sweet. Yeah.
And what's a favorite memory?
It's funny. That's an interesting question. I guess so. My son was born premature. He was born at 29 weeks. We recently just celebrated his first birthday. So I remember as we were going through it, as we were in the NICU, I would tell my wife, don't worry, this summer, referring, to later on, that we would be at, some restaurant, he'd be in his stroller, Zachary, our oldest son, would be eating, and all would be good. And I remember just thinking about that. So I know it might be cheesy or whatever, but I mean, I remember we got to a restaurant. I'm like, see, we did it. We made it through. So just thinking about that, when we knew all was good, Asher, our little one, was home. that's definitely my favorite memory right now.
So you mindfully were in that moment when that happened, and having predicted it.
Yes. I just kind of try to think about how it will be.
I love that.
Helps. Yeah.
That's a great memory. Well, happy birthday to your little one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And okay, what's a favorite place of yours?
I mean, I love Central Park. I love, again, this sounds, I mean, I don't know. Especially just now that my son, recently turned 1, I guess I'm just feeling extra grateful. I just love sitting around our kitchen table, just when me, my wife, my 2 kids are sitting around it. Like just being around that kitchen table feels just good. So right now that's my favorite place.
I love that.
That's a new one. I think we always get like a foreign country.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
a hike in the hills, but your kitchen table is awesome.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Who could want any more, All right, so the final question I ask everybody, what's the most woo-woo thing you've ever done?
I would hope, I mean, I'm a pretty nuts and bolts kind of guy, just, based on common sense.
Yeah.
I've really never tried anything that's woo-woo. I'm really against that. I mean, I really can't think of anything that I've tried. I got nothing for that.
You got nothing.
Yeah, I really have never tried anything that's woo. I mean,
that's a first. Some people have answered that question with something that they did that was just a great accomplishment, which I found interesting. When I ask that question to people, some people just say, I jumped down lava tubes in Hawaii, or right. I got my daughter's autistic school an internship program at my work. Things like that. So is there anything in that regard that you could think of? Just creating your program.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very proud of that. I mean, we've celebrated, this is going to be our 11th year.
Wow.
So I'm really, really proud of that. I'm proud of that. I've built an amazing team of coaches. And I'm proud of all of our success stories. I mean, I put my heart and soul into what I do. And, so yeah, I mean, I'm extremely proud of what we've been able to build with MBT.
Well, you should be. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
So how do people get in touch with you? What's the website?
Yeah, the best way is go to MyBodyTutor.com. Mm-hmm. And you can shoot us an email. There's a contact link. Shoot me an email, Adam@MyBodyTutor.com. And, I read and reply to every email.
Wow.
So I'm always here to help.
It's Adam. It's not somebody else. Adam does it, which is awesome.
That is great. Yeah. Well, I wish you all the success, and I'm definitely going to be telling people all about this. And thank you, Adam, so much for being on our podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was great to finally meet you officially.
Yeah, it was really nice. Yeah, it was nice to see you on the screen. This is fun. It's really cool.
Thanks so much, Adam.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, that's it for this episode. So how do you stay of sound mind and body in your life? Let us know. Email us or send us a voice memo at podcast@soundmindbodypodcast.com. And thanks for listening. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you like the podcast, give us a review on iTunes. It really helps new listeners find us. Thank you to our guest, Adam Gilbert. Thank you to our producer, Tim Edwards, and the Inbound Podcasting Network. Get in touch. I'm on Instagram at SoundMindBodyPodcast, on Twitter at SheilaMelody1, or find us on Facebook. Search for Sound Mind Body Podcast, or go to our website, SoundMindBodyPodcast.com. I'm Sheila Melody. Join us next week as we explore, enlighten, and evolve.